The question is, what do you do when you've changed the head on the drum and it still sounds like crap? I've been holding that head for like... I'm gonna die. I got a question a couple days ago and I thought that I would answer it this way, and the question was simply, they've got a Yamaha Stage custom kit at their church. The toms sounded horrible, so they changed the heads and they still sound like crap. So what do you do then? Tuning coming up was a constant issue for me. One, I hated it. Two, I didn't feel I was good at it. And so it took me years of just really struggling with this thing to figure out, you know, it was a complete dramatic ordeal when I had to change a head on a drum. I just hated it. And so it's a good question though, because sometimes you change it and you can't get it tuned back in. So part of this is, I would venture to say you're probably taking the kit as a whole. Like, you've got 3 or 4 toms and none of them sound correct. And really we need to eliminate some things so that we can work on just one sound. Once we get that one sounding good, then we can go to the next one because we have something to compare it with. In other words, not compare it with, something for it to go with. So you want your toms to sound in harmony with each other. And that's hard to do when you're tuning all 3 or 4 of them and nothing's going anywhere. So what I would do is I would take one of the toms off of the drums, off the drum set, and I would just simply be in the same room you're going to be playing in. But I'd simply take that drum, and if you've got a new head on it, chances are it's had time to seat on the head and everything's stretched how it needs to be. So now we just need to kind of tweak it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to first flip the drum over, and I'm going to make sure that I get every lug on this drum, whether it's low or high, sounding in the same pitch, so the same tonal area. Now later we may vary from that. There's no rule here. Later we may go, you know what, these 2 lugs, I feel like it sounds better when they're, you know, half a turn higher. That's totally fine. But to get to where we want to go, I want to make sure that every one of these lugs is in tune with each other. I go across from each other and I make sure that all those lugs are within the same tonal range, hitting the same note. Then I go to the front head, because that's the one looks like we're dealing with, on one drum, away from the drum kit, and I detune the whole thing. I just detune it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly take that tuning up until the head's not flappy anymore, until you actually are getting a tone out of the drum. Then I'm going to stop, and I'm going to pick one lug, and that's going to be my tone. And I'm going to tune all of the other lugs to that lug and make sure they all have the same pitch. Again, later, we may vary from this, but we're looking to get a good bass sound. A good sound to draw from. And first, let's get the drum in tune with itself. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly take that up, because it's going to be pretty low. We're going to be just above the drum head just sitting on there. We're going to slowly take that up by half a turn to 1 full turn on each lug. So when you turn one, you go to every one of them and you turn it. Make sure they're all staying in tune with each other around the same note. Slowly take that drum up. And what that's going to do is that may not be the pitch you want, but at least you're going to get a good tone out of the drum. You'll find a range that you like, and once you find that range, then it's tweaking. You may find that the bottom lug needs to be a half a turn tighter, a half a turn looser, whatever that may be. If you're tuning your snare, you may like the 2 lugs that are on each side of your snare wire to be a little bit looser, to give you a little bit more of a snare bed sound. That's fine. This is not tried and true rules. What I want to give you is a way to troubleshoot the tuning. Now, if you've done all this and it still sounds really bad, you need to check and make sure that the drum head is not warped. Although I have a hard time believing that all of your drum heads would be warped if you changed them. You do need to do that. You can take the drum head off, set it flat on the ground, and if there's any ripples underneath, in other words, in the hoop between that and a flat surface, you may have some issues. If you roll it across the ground and it's all crazy rolling, you may have some trouble. So you want to make sure that the drum head is in round with itself. But that's what I would do, is I would take it off, completely detune this head, flip this over, make sure that the bottom head is in tune. Each one of these lugs are around the same pitch. Then I'm going to go back to the top head. I'm going to tune it right up until where it's not just flappy sitting on the drum. And then I'm going to start going a half a turn to 1 full turn per lug, making sure if I turn one, I turn all the others until I get into the pitch, the range that I want to do. Now we've got a whole drum set to do. Now you've got the first one done. You may have an actual specific note. So you may be wanting to tune them to thirds or whatever that is. Find the top note you want, tune it to that. You can use a piano to do that if you want to. There are also some great tuning devices out there. Drum Dial is one of them. I think TuneBot is another. You can use those and help get that sound that you had before. But what you're wanting to do is get a good tone from this drum, and that will get you there, making sure it's in tune with itself. And then we can tweak from there. Once you get one drum, set it aside, grab another drum away from the kit and tune it. Then make sure they sound good together. Then bring another drum. What we're doing is we're just isolating one problem at a time, because right now, I know for myself, I would just look at them all and be like, this drum set's just a piece of crap, you know, like, and it wasn't the drum set, it was just the person that was tuning the drum set. That's what I would do if you're troubleshooting ahead. Make sure it's not warped. Make sure you're tuning all the lugs to themselves. Later we can vary from that, but to just get a good bass tone, that's what I do. Hopefully this has helped you. If you have tuning issues, or if you're like me and you really don't love tuning the drums, leave me a comment in the comment section. If you ever want to go more in depth with your drum lessons, jump over to the website, grab a membership. I'd love to have you in there. Whatever you do, I'll see you here in the next video.